I survived this intense Knocked Loose show they just played in a tiny venue in London. It was a 500 capacity venue, way smaller than they should ever have played. And actually, it turns out this was my first time ever seeing a hardcore gig. I've seen lots of gigs over the years, mostly metal bands, and the odd hardcore band here and there, but usually in a support show. So as I was approaching this gig, I realized I've never been to a hardcore gig before. I don't know what's in store. And I was getting increasingly nervous on my way there because I assumed this venue has no barrier. This might get a little bit wild. And it did. Now, for some context, Knocked Loose are a huge hardcore band. They played on Jimmy Kimmel Live last year along with Poppy. They shouldn't be playing a venue that is this small. They're way beyond this. And this is actually just a couple days before they're doing a big tour of the UK. But they said in their own words,
I know this was last minute, so thank you for getting a ticket or doing whatever you had to do. We start our tour here on Monday. We got in a little bit early. We thought, why the fuck not?
They announced the show one day before they played it. And it sold out. That's how much this venue was too small for this enormous hardcore band. I'd never seen them live before, so I jumped at the chance to check them out, and I was not disappointed. It's taken me quite a while to get into Knocked Loose, because the vocal ferociousness is so shrill that I think it's an acquired taste. But I have now acquired that taste, and I was so excited to see them live. Now, my nervousness about how dangerous this gig might be to attend was confirmed by a couple of guys who I bumped into on the way in who had seen videos on my channel before. And they said that they'd already got completely rollicked by people who were moshing insanely in the pit to the extent that one of them had to change their t-shirt. Right? What the fuck are we in for? So normally I have a spot. I'll go to the right-hand side of the stage. Nice little view there. Usually safe. But today, not so safe. The pit in there was near constant, huge, and all this fucking crowd-killing, madness. Crowd surfers were happening pretty much continuously throughout the set. But somehow I managed to go completely unscathed, which I'm delighted for. Every once in a while there's someone in front of me with a full beer, and I was thinking if someone knocks into him, that's going all over my face. Not usually how I like to enjoy a gig. But there's something different about a hardcore show. This is just how it is. Some people go there to listen to the music. Most go there to fight, it seems. Anyway, I adored Knocked Loose's album, You Won't Go Before You're Supposed To, when that came out. I was really impressed with that. So I was delighted to have the chance to see them live and hear some of those songs live. And you know what? Live, Knocked Loose makes all the sense in the world. I've enjoyed it on record, but live, the way Brian barks out those intense vocals is absolutely incredible. It is so full throttle the whole time. The man was, to be fair, all of us were sweating by the third song. And I didn't move. I was just standing watching as much as I could on the fringes. But I had a river of sweat going down my back. The ceiling was sweating on us because of how fucking hot it was in that room. And yeah, Brian was absolutely saturated from the third song in, but just gave it everything he had. There were a couple of little moments of pauses between songs where they'd have that sort of odd buzzing mosquito-like noise they'd have on the album, where they could kind of pause for a little bit. But really, this was an hour of power. Just relentless scream intensity and heavy, disgusting, low, crunchy chords for guitars. Amazing drummer this band has. That was a joy to see. And people just went fucking wild. Now, I'm not new to the world of crowd surfers, but there's something about this gig which I've never really seen before at a gig. It's one thing for people to jump up on stage and jump off into the crowd and crowd surf. What I noticed happening all the time at this gig was someone would jump into the crowd to crowd surf. A second person would jump to the exact same place to crowd surf, and a third person to the exact same place. As if they wanted the crowd to collapse, because you can't hold that many people up at the same time. Once you're holding one of them, you don't see the second person coming in to hit you in the head. That is crazy. Somehow, I didn't see anyone get really hurt. I heard one person next to me say that It's all right. It feels a little bit weak, but I can stand on it. Like, what happened to their ankle? That's not how I want to enjoy a gig. It's kind of cool to watch that happen, as long as you felt like you were at a certain enough distance that you weren't going to get injured. But wow, that's weird. And what's interesting as well is the band totally encouraged this. This seems to be very much the hardcore way to watch gigs. So much so that normally at a metal gig, there's some moment, I say normally, some bands will do this, where they say like, take a look at the person next to you, normally followed by, we're all brothers in this, we're family, we're brothers and sisters, like we're enjoying this music together. What a wonderful moment. Not what Isaac did. It goes like, look at the person next to you, and I want you to start pushing that person. The whole crowd just starts going, ah! Not my vibe, man. Not how I want to enjoy a show. But totally in keeping with the, it does add a little something special to the intensity of the songs. Because then when a moment comes, there's a huge drop, a big call out, like a knock loose motherfucker. It's going to be an absolute battle. And there's an anticipation and fear about that, which really accentuates the gig enjoying experience in some capacity. Wow. I was wondering before this gig a little bit, like, why Knocked Loose? Why have they become the biggest hardcore band in the world? There's a lot of bands doing this, doing it pretty well. I've seen hardcore bands live. Really good ones, like Alpha Wolf are incredible live, for example. Knocked Loose, you see them live, you kind of see it. You understand. They were so complete as a sound, so enthralled and wrapped up in the audience what they're doing. They felt like we were all in this thing together. It's all just human beings going full tilt. Except for me, who was standing at the side, trying not to go full tilt. But the delivery was phenomenal. The way their songs are structured is perfect for enticing the crowd along and massaging that energy throughout the set. It was brilliant. They are so, so good live. And it was quite a wild thing to see that in such a small venue. And I think everyone there seemed to appreciate that fact and then just go a bit harder with all the fucking, what are they called? Like high kicks? Crowd killing kicks? I don't know the terminology for all these things. But moshed. They moshed a lot. They played a bunch of the favorites of mine, like Blinding Faith. They played, of course, they played Suffocate. They did not have Poppy there, but they had, actually the only moment they had of her on the track was when she's doing a sort of spoken word thing. All of her normal scream vocals, they basically had the crowd do that for them, and then Brian would do some of them here and there. But that was awesome. Interestingly enough, I think some of the other songs hit harder live. Suffocate is a great one as a track. Live, other songs of theirs absolutely crushed. Everything's quiet now. Blinding Faith was amazing. The sing-along, well, I say sing-along, the shout-along moment of I Dream of a Cleansing Wave, that live was absolutely epic. Really, really ferocious. And it made me want to go to more hardcore gigs from like safe places, because I don't want to get injured. I'm not about that. But there's something intoxicating about that environment with that music cranked up to fucking 12. That was an amazing thing to witness. And I didn't even really mind the fact that by the end of that hour, I was so sweaty from not even really moving. It's like I just jumped in a river. I couldn't. And it's like 2 degrees outside in London right now. It is winter. So going outside, soaking wet into freezing cold, was an exhilarating experience. One that I don't really want to repeat. But the gig itself, totally worthwhile. Captivating live show from Knocked Loose. And I'm so delighted I survived it, but I just know there are other universes where I went to that show and stood in a different spot and got completely wrecked. And that kind of danger is exciting. I don't want that all the time. In fact, probably almost never. But might have been worth it to get injured to see Knocked Loose. That gig at the Underworld in London was incredible. So that was my first experience of seeing a hardcore gig, standalone hardcore gig, and seeing Knocked Loose live. If you enjoyed this, do make sure you subscribe to this channel. There's more live reviews that will come up in future. Whenever I go to a gig that's notable, I'll kind of recap it here on the channel. I also review new music as and when it comes out. Knocked Loose, I've reviewed a bunch of their videos. You can go check them out on my channel as well. Thank you for watching this. Hopefully I'll see you in another video very soon.